Human history is a story we are still writing. For every discovery unearthed by archaeologists, another mystery emerges from the dust of time. Ancient temples, strange artifacts, and forgotten texts, they whisper to us, daring us to question what we really know about the past. Tonight, we embark on a journey into the 10 strangest discoveries archaeology still cannot explain. From devices thousands of years ahead of their time, to books written in languages no one can read, these mysteries push the limits of history and challenge what we think we know about human civilization. Some of these discoveries seem to suggest lost knowledge, others hint at forgotten cultures, and a few raise questions so bizarre that mainstream archaeology still struggles to give us answers. Prepare yourself, because these aren't just objects in a museum. They're riddles carved in stone, etched in parchment, hidden beneath the waves. They remind us that the past is not dead. It's still speaking to us in voices we have yet to understand. Let's begin with a discovery pulled from the depths of the sea, a device so advanced it should not exist, and yet it does. In 1901, sponge divers exploring the waters off Antikythera, a small Greek island, stumbled upon the wreck of a Roman cargo ship. Among the treasures retrieved, statues, pottery, jewelry was a lump of corroded bronze that at first glance looked like nothing more than junk. But when scientists examined it more closely, they realized this encrusted lump was something extraordinary. Inside were interlocking gears, delicate teeth, and precision craftsmanship that should have been impossible for the ancient world. This strange object became known as the Antikythera Mechanism, and it is often described as the world's first computer. The device dates to around 100 BC using a system of bronze gears. It could predict the movements of the sun, moon, and planets. It tracked eclipses. It marked the cycles of the ancient Olympic Games. It was, in essence, an analog computer, more than 1,500 years ahead of its time. How could ancient Greeks, without precision tools, craft something this advanced? Some argue that the knowledge came from a forgotten genius, perhaps inspired by Archimedes himself. Others whisper that it's evidence of lost technology, or a civilization we've yet to uncover. Modern CT scans of the mechanism reveal at least 30 bronze gears, each with tiny teeth carved by hand. The craftsmanship rivals that of 18th century clockmakers. And yet, this was made more than 2,000 years ago. The strangest part, no other device like it has ever been found. If this was common technology, where are the others? If it was a one-of-a-kind invention, who made it, and why was it lost? The Antikythera Mechanism remains one of archaeology's greatest puzzles. A machine that shouldn't exist, yet lies in a museum in Athens, defying everything we thought we knew about ancient science. And it is only the beginning, because the deeper we dig, the stranger it gets. In the 1930s, near Baghdad, Iraq, workers unearthed a small clay jar during an excavation. At first, it seemed unremarkable, but inside the jar was a copper cylinder, and within that, an iron rod. When scientists reconstructed it, they realized something astonishing. This simple jar could produce an electric current when filled with vinegar or grape juice. It became known as the Baghdad battery. If the jar was truly a battery, it predates the invention of electricity by nearly 2,000 years. But what would ancient people have used electricity for? Some researchers believe the battery may have been used for electroplating jewelry, applying thin layers of gold or silver to objects. Others think it could have had a ritual use, producing small shocks that seemed magical. Skeptics argue that it may not have been a battery at all. that the jar was simply a storage vessel, and the electrical interpretation is a modern fantasy. But experiments show it does indeed generate a small current. If that's true, then ancient Mesopotamians understood a principle of science we only rediscovered in modern times. One battery is a curiosity, but what if there were more? Were these devices widespread? Were they toys, tools, or something more profound? The truth is, no one knows. The Baghdad battery remains a mystery locked in clay, evidence of forgotten technology, or simply a misunderstood artifact. For now, its true purpose is as enigmatic as the people who made it. In 1912, an antiquarian named Wilfrid Voynich purchased a collection of old books from a Jesuit college in Italy. Among them was a manuscript that would become one of the most famous unsolved mysteries in the world. The book was handwritten, filled with strange illustrations, plants that don't exist, astronomical diagrams, and naked women bathing in strange pools. Most baffling of all, the text itself, written in a script that matches no known language. This became known as the Voynich Manuscript. For over a century, scholars, linguists, and even codebreakers from World War II have tried to decipher the text. All have failed. The script follows patterns like a real language, but no one can translate it. Some theories suggest it's a hoax, a meaningless jumble designed to deceive. Others believe it encodes secret medical knowledge, recipes for elixirs, or even magical spells. Artificial intelligence has analyzed the text, suggesting it may be related to a lost language or dialect. But no one has cracked its code. Even stranger, the illustrations, plants that don't match any known species, zodiac charts with strange symbols, women bathing in green liquid-filled tubes. Was it medicine, alchemy, fantasy, or something we cannot imagine? The Voynich manuscript defies explanation. It sits in Yale University's Bernanke Library, taunting anyone who dares to read it. Is it the work of a genius, a prankster, or a window into a forgotten knowledge system we no longer understand? Until someone breaks the code, it remains the most mysterious book in history. From machines that shouldn't exist, to jars that may have held the power of lightning, to books no one can read, the mysteries only deepen. And in the next chapter, we'll explore a discovery that rewrote the very story of civilization itself. In 1994, on a dusty hill in southeastern Turkey, a team of archaeologists made a discovery that would shake the foundations of history. Beneath layers of earth lay a series of enormous stone pillars, carved with intricate animals, symbols, and geometric shapes. Some pillars weighed more than 10 tons, arranged in massive stone circles. The site became known as Göbekli Tepe, and it is the world's oldest known temple. Here's the mystery. Göbekli Tepe dates to around 11,000 years ago, thousands of years before Stonehenge, the pyramids of Egypt, or even the invention of writing. According to history, people of that time were hunter-gatherers, nomads without farming or permanent settlements. Yet, Göbekli Tepe suggests they gathered in large numbers, designed monumental architecture, and carved symbols that may represent the first steps toward writing or religion. The site should not exist, and yet it does. Its builders transported stones weighing tons without wheels or metal tools. They arranged them in circles, some depicting foxes, lions, birds, and abstract symbols whose meaning we can only guess. Why did they build it? Was it a temple, a meeting place, a star map? Some archaeologists believe it was the birthplace of organized religion, where humans first gathered to worship the unseen. But the strangest mystery is how Göbekli Tepe ended. Around 8000 BC, its builders deliberately buried it under tons of earth and sand. They sealed their temple, hiding it from the future. Why? Were they afraid of something? Was it a ritual closure, or a deliberate act to protect secrets we still cannot decipher? Göbekli Tepe rewrote history. It shows us that complex societies and monumental architecture existed thousands of years before we believed possible. And it leaves us with one burning question: what else lies buried, waiting to be discovered? In a cathedral in Turin, Italy, lies a linen cloth 14 feet long, imprinted with the faint image of a man. His hands are crossed, his body wounded, his face solemn. For centuries, millions have believed this cloth, the Shroud of Turin, is the burial shroud of Jesus Christ. But science and faith clash over its mystery. The image on the shroud is not painted, it's not drawn. It seems to be a scorch-like imprint, but no known technique fully explains it. In 1988, radiocarbon dating suggested the shroud was medieval, dating to the 13th or 14th century. Skeptics declared it a clever forgery, but believers argued the tests were flawed, taken from a repaired corner of the cloth. Later studies of pollen grains and textile patterns suggested it could indeed be ancient, originating in the Middle East. Modern forensic experts note that the wounds match Roman crucifixion practices, and the bloodstains align with historical accounts. But here's the unsolved riddle. How was the image made? No pigment, no brushstrokes, no known process matches it. Some scientists speculate it could have been caused by a burst of radiation. Others suggest natural chemical reactions. Believers say it was a miracle, the moment of resurrection imprinted forever on cloth. Whether relic or forgery, the Shroud of Turin is one of archaeology's most haunting artifacts. It embodies the eternal tension between science and faith, between what we can measure and what we believe. In the desert of southern Peru, stretching across more than 200 square miles, are enormous drawings carved into the earth. From the ground, they appear as shallow trenches, but from above, they form massive geoglyphs. Hummingbirds, spiders, monkeys, fish, and strange humanoid figures. Some stretch hundreds of feet across. These are the Nazca Lines. The lines date between 500 BC and 500 AD, but here's the enigma. They were made by removing the top layer of reddish soil, exposing the lighter earth beneath. Without planes or drones, the Nazca people could not see the figures in full. So, how did they design them with such precision? And why? Some scholars believe the lines were ritual pathways, walked during ceremonies to summon rain in the desert. Others think they were astronomical calendars, aligning with solstices and constellations. But the sheer scale is staggering. One geoglyph depicts a hummingbird with a beak 1,000 feet long. Another, a monkey with a spiral tail stretching 300 feet. The most puzzling figure is known as the astronaut, a humanoid shape with a large head and raised hand. What did the Nazca intend? Gods, spirits, or something beyond this world? In the 20th century, some fringe theorists suggested the lines were landing strips for alien visitors. Mainstream science rejects this, but the question remains, why create massive drawings only visible from the sky? The desert wind has preserved the Nazca Lines for millennia, keeping their mystery intact. They remain messages written on the earth. But for whom? A temple older than history, a relic that may capture the divine, and giant desert drawings meant for eyes in the sky. As we move forward, the mysteries only grow stranger. Next, we'll explore an object that defies time itself. A hammer embedded in stone millions of years old. In 1936, a couple walking near London, Texas, stumbled upon a strange rock with a piece of wood sticking out of it. When they cracked it open, they found something even stranger, an iron hammer, its head encased in stone. This became known as the London Hammer, and it quickly became one of the most controversial objects in archaeology. The hammer itself looks ordinary, a tool any blacksmith might use, but the stone encasing it has been dated by some geologists to be more than 100 million years old. If true, that would mean a human-made hammer was somehow embedded in rock long before humans, even before mammals walked the earth. How can this be? Skeptics argue that the hammer is modern, simply encased in stone through a natural concretion process. In other words, minerals in the soil gradually formed a casing around the hammer, making it appear ancient. But those who believe in our tough place artifacts see the London Hammer as proof that human civilization, or something like it, existed far earlier than science admits. To them, it's evidence of lost technology, maybe even proof of visitors from beyond our world. The hammer's wooden handle has partially turned to coal, suggesting great age. Its iron head is unusually pure, lacking the impurities we'd expect from pre-industrial smelting. Yet mainstream archaeology remains unconvinced. They classify it as a curiosity, not a revolution. So is the London Hammer a hoax, a natural accident, or proof of something history books don't tell us? For now, it remains a mystery sealed in stone. In museums and private collections around the world exist a handful of eerie life-sized skulls carved entirely from clear or milky quartz crystal. They are known as the crystal skulls, and they have inspired legends of lost civilizations, supernatural powers, and even alien origins. The skulls first appeared in the 19th century, said to come from ancient Mesoamerican sites. Some claimed they were made by the Maya or the Aztecs. Others believed they were relics of Atlantis, holding ancient knowledge. The most famous is the Mitchell Hedges skull, allegedly discovered in Belize in the 1920s by the daughter of an explorer. She claimed it was found in a ruined temple, shining like treasure in the dirt. Legend says the skull has mystical powers, that it can heal, project visions, or even bring death to those who misuse it. New Age movements embraced the skulls as artifacts of spiritual energy, but science paints a murkier picture. Under microscopes, many skulls show evidence of being carved with modern rotary tools, not ancient stone instruments. Some may have been made in Europe in the 1800s, sold to collectors hungry for exotic relics. Still, mystery lingers. How were they carved with such precision? Quartz is notoriously hard to work with, yet some skulls are nearly perfect anatomically, with polished surfaces and no tool marks. Could they truly be ancient, and science has yet to understand the technique? Or are they clever forgeries that took on a life of their own? The crystal skulls stand at the crossroads of myth and science. Whether modern fakes or genuine ancient mysteries, they continue to fascinate. And perhaps that is their true power, not in magic, but in mystery. In 1986, a diver exploring the waters near Yonaguni, a small island in Japan, stumbled upon something unexpected beneath the waves. At a depth of about 25 meters, he found massive stone structures, terraces, steps, and platforms stretching across the seafloor. The discovery became known as the Yonaguni Monument, and ever since, experts have debated whether it is a natural formation or the remains of a lost city. The formations resemble stepped pyramids, with flat terraces and sharp right angles. Some appear to have roads or avenues, with stone pillars rising from the seabed. Supporters of the lost city theory argue that Yonaguni could be evidence of a prehistoric civilization submerged after the last ice age, when sea levels rose dramatically around 10,000 years ago. If true, it would push back the timeline of advanced human architecture by thousands of years. Skeptics, however, argue the monument is natural. Sandstone and tectonic activity in the region can produce sharp fractures, creating stair-like formations that only look artificial. To them, Yonaguni is a geological quirk, not Atlantis reborn. But there are details that fuel speculation. Some stones resemble carvings, faces, or animal shapes. Divers report what looks like a road stretching away from the main structure. If these features are artificial, who built them? And how did their city sink beneath the waves? The truth remains hidden under the sea. For now, Yonaguni sits in silence, an underwater riddle waiting for an answer. A hammer sealed in ancient stone. Skulls that gleam with secrets. A monument buried beneath the waves. Each discovery blurs the line between history and mystery. But our final chapter will take us deeper to wonders and enigmas that leave us questioning the very story of humanity itself. We've traveled through time and across continents, from Greek seas to Peruvian deserts, from medieval relics to underwater cities. Each discovery whispers the same message. Our past is far stranger and far less complete than we imagine. But what do these mysteries truly tell us? Why do some artifacts, structures, and texts remain beyond explanation? And why does archaeology, a field dedicated to uncovering truth, sometimes struggle to give us definitive answers? Archaeology is, at its heart, detective work. But unlike detectives, archaeologists work with fragments, broken stones, half-buried bones, eroded carvings. Time erases context. Fires destroy libraries. Floods drown cities. For every artifact found, there are thousands lost. For every temple uncovered, another lies hidden beneath earth or sea. This means we are always reconstructing history with missing pieces, making educated guesses. And sometimes those guesses are challenged by discoveries that simply shouldn't exist. Machines, batteries, maps, or texts that feel out of place. When we see something like the Antikythera Mechanism, one explanation is that ancient people had lost technologies, knowledge that was forgotten over time. History is not a straight line. Civilizations rise and fall, and with them, libraries and inventions vanish. Another explanation is that we misinterpret what we find. The Baghdad battery might be a jar, not a power source. The London hammer might be modern, not ancient. And yet, the sense of wonder remains. Even if some objects are explained away, others continue to resist answers. Why do these mysteries captivate us so deeply? Because they remind us that history is alive, that it still has secrets to tell. Every unexplained artifact is a doorway into imagination. Some see evidence of lost civilizations, others whisper of aliens, time travelers, or forgotten gods. And while science may one day provide answers, the allure of the unknown will always remain. Because mystery is part of what makes us human. The need to seek, to wonder, to dream, beyond the evidence in front of us. In the end, maybe these artifacts don't need clear explanations. Maybe their true purpose is to remind us that we don't know everything. The Antikythera Mechanism teaches us that human ingenuity is older than we think. Göbekli Tepe shows that civilization began earlier and more complex than expected. The Shroud of Turin reminds us of the tension between faith and science. The Nazca Lines prove that humans will create wonders, even if they are only for the eyes of the gods. The crystal skulls, whether real or fake, show us how stories can become legends. The Voynich manuscript still taunts us with the ultimate question: what knowledge have we lost? So as we close this journey, ask yourself, what else lies hidden, waiting to be discovered? How many ruins still sleep beneath jungles? How many artifacts remain buried in deserts or drowned under seas? Every year, archaeology uncovers something new. Sometimes it confirms what we know, sometimes it rewrites history, and sometimes it hands us puzzles that refuse to be solved. Perhaps that is the greatest gift of archaeology, not the answers, but the questions. Because in every unanswered question, in every mystery still unsolved, we are reminded of the vastness of human history and the endless curiosity that drives us to explore it. These were 10 strange discoveries archaeologists can't explain. But perhaps the greatest discovery is this: our story is not finished, and the mysteries of the past are still shaping the future.